Welcome to the DJ and Finance Podcast. And today I want to talk about culture versus behavior of the financially independent.
DJ Finance.
What's going on, everybody? My name's Kamal, aka Swiss the DJ, aka Mr. Morrison, and this show is all about me documenting my journey on the road to financial freedom. Now, I know I haven't posted a podcast episode in a long time. My bad, not being consistent. That's neither here nor there. We're back today with another podcast episode. Today, I want to talk about culture/upbringing versus the behavior of the financially independent. I want to bring this up today as this is something that affected me and something I had to correct to get on the right path towards financial independence. For myself, there were certain things I heard growing up that shaped the way I thought and behaved around money, and I didn't realize this until I got older. For example, growing up in the church, you heard things like money is the root of all evil, or you're oppressed and there's a certain set of people holding you back. I believe culture shapes what people normalize, talk about, value, fear, and expect. Culture can influence behavior, and behavior can influence financial outcomes over time. The more I went down this personal finance journey, I realized that it's less about culture and race, and more about repeated financial behaviors, habits, and beliefs that people carry with them over the decades. I believe anyone from any background can adopt strong financial behaviors once they become aware of them, as this is something that I did myself. For myself, investing was never discussed. Business ownership was uncommon. Retirement planning was never explained, and money conversations were more emotional than they were strategic. But once I learned and I got a couple of wins, it was very hard for me to go back to the things I used to hear when I was younger. I started to take things at face value. Once I exposed myself to this personal finance content and knowledge through books, podcasts, YouTube videos, and blogs, and I actually started executing on the knowledge I was obtaining, I'm like, oh, these people are doing things completely differently. You come to the conclusion, and it makes sense why certain people are better off financially than others. One of the first thought leaders I got exposed to in the space was Dave Ramsey. And when callers would call in financial distress, one of the first steps he would always say is sit down and write a budget. David Bach is another thought leader in the space that I follow too. He says not to have a budget, he doesn't believe in them, but he would always say to track your money. Know where your money is going. Once I learned this, I started using a website and an app called Mint, and it was a game changer for me. They're not around anymore, so I just use a regular spreadsheet. Once I did this, I knew whether I was in a budget surplus or deficit at the end of the month. Once you have a snapshot, it's very simple and know to see where you need to make changes. Another behavior that the financially independent people do is staying away from debt. Growing up, I would see purchasing decisions based on do I want something versus do I actually have the money to pay for it. It would be nothing to see someone put a purchase on a credit card or take out a line of credit to get something that they desired. And the shocking thing, this debt was being accumulated for something that would go down in value. I remember watching a podcast with David Bach. I don't remember what show he was on, but he said something that I always remember, and I believe it to be true. You don't go into debt to buy things that go down in value. You only go into debt to buy things that go up in value. In 2019, when I refinanced my condo, there were two things that I purchased. One was a second home that I was going to move into, and I was going to keep my condo as an investment property. We all know that didn't happen. And the second thing that I purchased was my AP2 Honda S2000. People may say, or did say, oh, you bought a car? Yes, I did buy a car. My dream car, actually. The funny thing is, since I bought that car, it's actually doubled in value. The third behavior is educating themselves on personal finance. A majority of people are not awarded the privilege to be taught about personal finance at a young age. Most have to educate themselves. Growing up, there was a huge emphasis on getting a post-secondary education. You have to be educated. But ask an educated person about investing, and the majority of them have no clue. So education is so important, yet they won't educate themselves about investing and how to grow their money. That never made sense to me. The funny thing is, years ago, I passed my Canadian securities course to start working in the investment field in Canada. However, I really didn't get a good grasp about investing. I more just memorized the material more than actually understanding it. Once I learned and understood investments and what investment style worked for the average everyday person and actually executed on it, it was a game changer. Once I actually started seeing returns and success with my investments, I actually got upset. So you're telling me, regardless of what culture or background that you come from, as long as you're a Canadian citizen, you can open up a brokerage account, preferably a tax-free savings account to start, fund it, buy investments, and nobody will ever ask you for your race or your gender when you're purchasing them. That was a game changer for me. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode and share it with someone who you think it would benefit. Until the next time, I'll catch you in the next episode.